there are two types of people that came into this ummah that have corrupted it greatly. The first are scholars who think that what they know is the only true thing, and they reject everybody else's opinions. And he said that these people are just a disaster for the religion, because tolerance of different opinions is very important in our tradition. And these are things that people fight over, things like Mawlid. And the Mawlid is a mukhtalaf fihi. The majority of scholars permitted it. Yeah, there are some scholars that didn't. So if you don't want to do the Mawlid, that's fine. You don't have to do it. It's fine. But leave the other people alone that want to celebrate the Prophet's birthday, because they have their proofs from the ulama. Imam Suyuti wrote a very famous fatwa about it in Al-Hawi. So it's just better. If you don't want to, that's fine. But don't say yours is the only opinion. Just say, this is what I think. I prefer this opinion. I recognize other scholars have said this. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. I saw a fatwa recently, because all fatwas say Allahu a'lam at the end. I saw a fatwa recently that just said, it didn't have Allahu a'lam. It just ended by saying, I'm right and everybody else is wrong. It was amazing. I was thinking, subhanAllah. Like, what is that? You know, there's little things you know when people aren't trained by real knowledge. I'm going to give you an example. If you see somebody put somebody before Malik, like they put Al-Bukhari before Malik or Imam Ahmed, it's a sign that they're not trained. If you see them write S-A-L, what do they write? Sa'lam, you know? S-A-W, it's a sign they're not trained. The ulama said it's bukhl to do that. You don't even have the generosity to write the whole thing out. Muhaddithun considered it makruh to do that. You know? But those are little signs that you know that people, and if you don't know those things, then why are you writing? Go study. You know, there's no, the nice thing about our religion, there's no monopoly. Anybody can become a scholar if you're willing to put in the energy, the time. I mean, obviously you have to have some ability, but people can do that. But this need for everybody, I mean, this age that we're living in is so strange because everybody has to have an opinion. I mean, you should read, there was an essay written back in the 30s called Balderdash that was rewritten by a philosopher recently, and he entitled it BS, but the whole thing was spelt out. But it's an interesting argument. It's worth reading. He just argues, why is there so much BS out there? Like, why is the world filled with so much BS? And part of it, he just concludes that people think they have to have an opinion about everything. That people just can't say, I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. Why do I have to have an opinion? People ask me my opinion of Turkish politics. I don't know. There's people that get PhDs in Turkish politics. Go ask that guy. Why are you asking me? I read The Economist? I know something? I can't read Turkish, so I don't know what they're saying. I only know what these sinister people in England are saying about them, and I don't trust them. Right? I mean, do you really trust somebody that writes for The Economist? You know, or Time, or Newsweek? Like, you trust these sources? The New York Times? All the news is fit to print according to us. Right? So, I mean, if you don't know something, just say, I don't know. La adri. There's no shame. The shame is in like espousing opinions about something you know nothing about. We all do it at one time or another. I'm guilty of it just like everybody else. But you should at least regret it. Like, why did I say anything? I shouldn't have said it. I should have just said, I don't know. Why did I say anything? Right? And then you can have opinions, like you can be read about things. I have certain opinions about things that I've read about. I have opinions about homeopathy or allopathic medicine or acupuncture, or maybe they're true, maybe they're not. You know, the whole world is so weird. Right? It's really, there's so many weird things out there. I don't know. You know, the only thing, like I'm certain, some people, modern people don't like this man. I'm certain that this man got it right. Like I'm certain about it. That's how I feel about him. I trust him as a source. I know some of his hadiths are weak. Some of them are even considered fabricated. I know that. I'm aware of that. But I never saw any hadith that I always liked them. Even the ones that were considered fabricated, they seem wise sayings at least. But maybe they shouldn't be attributed to the Prophet ﷺ. If you know they're not, then they shouldn't be. But usually al-Iraqi said, لَمْ أَجِدْ لَهُ أَصْلًا. He has adab with the Imam. He says, I didn't find any source for this. The modern ones, you know what they write? لَا أَصْلَ لَهُ. There's no source for it. How do you know? What? You learned all the hadith? You learned all 55,000 hadith? MashaAllah, with all the essence, and then all the hadith that were lost in our history during the Mongol invasion, all those books that were lost. You learned all those? MashaAllah. It's like the man who in Imam Abu Dawood's book, Aridat al-Ahwadi, about Tirmidhi, it's in Tirmidhi's collection, about Imam Zuhri was in the masjid, and Aisha relates a hadith that the Prophet did one taslima. It's a weak hadith in Tirmidhi, but the Malikis took the action, because in Medina, they only did one taslima. They said, Assalamu alaikum, one time. That was the action of the people of Medina. Imam Malik says, that's stronger than ahad hadith for me. These solitary narrations from other places. I found all the tabi'een doing this in Medina. They got it from the Sahaba got it from the Prophet. This is what I'm going to do. That's his methodology. So Az-Zuhri, who's his teacher, he's one of Malik's teachers, he saw a man say, in Medina, he's in the masjid, he said, Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alaikum. He did it twice. He said, called him up. He said, where'd you get that taslima from? So the man was from Iraq and he was knowledgeable. He said, an fulan, an ibn Mas'ud. He said, I don't know that hadith. Zuhri, he said, I don't know that hadith. So the man said, do you know all the hadith? He said, no. He said, do you know 2/3 of the hadith? He said, no. He said, do you know half of the hadith? He said, yes. He said, put it in the half you don't know. And so, ضحك الزهري, Imam Zuhri laughed. He had a good sense of humor. He didn't get angry. He said, yeah, you're right. But these guys, no, we know everything. We've got Google. We can search the hadith. Oh, it says it's not there. My goodness. It's amazing. Seriously, they check the Google hadith. They think that's it. Because it's not on Google, it can't be a hadith.